Hey, what's up guys? Jordan Anderson here from Valley Films. In today's episode, we're going to get into how to make money as a filmmaker. So a while back I made a video about how to set your prices, what you should charge, and I felt that it was a little too broad, a little too hippy-dippy. You first have to figure out you. So for this video, we're going to get pretty far into the weeds. We're going to get into a lot of details about the financial aspects of a video project. So if that's not really your thing, or if you're not really interested in that, you can go ahead and skip this video. I won't feel offended. You can skip this video. Let's do a hypothetical scenario. We have a video project. Let's say it's sort of a, let's say it's a commercial for a new product that's coming out. So we'll break it down how Valley Films does their video projects. I won't go into specifics on what our rates are, but I will give you just example rates and how you can apply it to your video projects. Videomaker.com has a video rate calculator where you can put in every single aspect of your life: office rent, personal rent, utilities, how much gear you own. Like, it will give you all those little details all the way to the point where it can tell you how much you need to charge for the project, how much profit you're trying to make, and so forth. Check out the link in the description. So let's get into the numbers, y'all. For, let's say we just have a commercial project. It's going to take 1 day of shooting. It's going to take about 40 hours of editing. There's two ways you can go about this. You can do what's called a day rate, which just covers, you can say your day rate's a 12-hour day or your day rate's an 8-hour day. But your day rate's a set price per day, so if it takes 2 days, then you just multiply your day rate by 2. And the way that I do it is the hourly rate, because sometimes things can go overtime, sometimes things don't fall exactly within a single day. So sometimes it helps to be a little bit more finite. Bigger clients may be okay with day rates, but sometimes smaller clients need to specifically know how much it's going to cost by an hourly rate. So you got to kind of keep that price under control a little bit. So for what we do is we do an hourly rate. So let's say our hourly rate, for example, let's say it's $50 an hour. So what I like to do is I like to do a production hourly rate and an editing hourly rate. Just to make things easier, let's say that our overall hourly rate is $50 an hour. Production is going to take 1 day, so that's 12 hours. So 12 hours, and then we said editing is going to take about 40 hours. So we got 40 hours at $50 an hour. The other part you have to think about is exporting time. If it's a big video project, then you have to export that out. You can do exporting, or you can do like what's called deliverables. So that could be like transferring the data to a hard drive, that could be burning it to a DVD, that could be uploading it to YouTube, to Vimeo. The amount of time that it takes to package the final product and give it to your client, you should count those hours. So let's say that takes about 5 hours. So 5 hours times 50. So we have 12 hours for production, 40 hours for editing, and 5 hours for exporting. So let's do some math here. Bam, bam, bam. So production for a 12-hour day, that's $600. For editing of 40 hours, that's going to be $2,000. And then for your deliverable preparation, your deliveries, that's $250. So in total, your price would be $2,850 for an entire video project. Now you don't show this to the client just yet. You're not quite finished there. So this part right here, that $2,850, that's how much you should pay yourself for this video project, because you are saying that I need $50 an hour for the 57 hours of work that it's going to take for this project. The same way you would say to, say, a company that you worked for, if they were paying you at $50 an hour and you worked 57 hours. So you got $2,850. Now let's remember that number. So that is your personal cut of this video project. Now we also need to take into account all the project resources that we need for this. So let's take into account travel expenses. So you need to travel an hour, and it's about 60 miles. You could do like IRS, which is like, I think like 0.57. Don't hold me to that. And you do that and you multiply that by 60 times the amount of driving, so that's $50, half the time of driving, 25, so that's 50, so 34 plus 50. So let's say travel time is $100. The next thing you need to figure out is if you need any extra equipment for the project. So if you need to go to a rental website and rent out some extra cameras, rent out some extra gear. Let's say you need a Ronin, a C100, and a couple lenses. So that's probably, let's say that's about $500. Again, we're just keeping the math simple, but we're giving you the details. So we have our personal wages, we have our travel expenses, we have our rental fees, and then let's also throw in that you need to hire an assistant camera for this project. You can't do this project all yourself, so you need to say, so you need a second assistant with you, and you need a second shooter for you. Let's say we're paying this guy 30 bucks an hour at 12 hours, so that's $360. So we're going to pay our second shooter $360. So there may be some other project expenses. Let's say you need to spend 200 bucks on insurance for your gear. Just general liability insurance overall, make sure everyone's safe and covered. So far, we have now totaled up to $4,010 for the total price. Now, this is before you add your profits. Profit is a way that you keep going. Profit is the way you kind of fuel the fire for your company. It's how you grow. It's how you expand. If you didn't have profit and you just broke even every time, you would be either sinking as a company or you'd just be flatlining. Flatlining, not like dead, but like there wouldn't be any growth. And you always want growth. Growth is good. Usually standard profit is about 25 to 30%. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that total number of all our expenses and multiply that by 25%. An easier way you can do it, you can multiply that by 1.25. So profit for this one for $4,010 is going to total up to $1,002.50. So what you would do to that is you would add that 25% into the total price. So now our grand total is going to be $5,012.50. That's pretty much how you set up the whole project. I mean, you can get into a nice formula with this, with just figuring out how much everything's going to cost and then giving it to the client. Payment plans help your client sometimes. Standard practices are such as like 50-50, so 50% the day of production and the other 50% would go towards deliverables. So the day that they receive their product is when they pay the last 50%. In the wedding world, you can break it up even more. You can do what's called like 30, 50, 20. So you could do 30% booking, 50% the day of, 20% the day of deliverables. You could also do net 30. That's pretty standard across the way. You can Google what net 30 means. But when it's just like, say, yourself and your second shooter, or just a small team of you, you don't need all those line items. You just need to figure out what your time is worth, and then also need to figure out how do you cover the cost of the project, and then also figure out how you can actually make a little money on the top from this project. Profit is not a bad thing. Profit can seem nasty to people. Profit has a bad reputation among some people, but profit's a good thing. It helps you grow your company. It helps expand. You're able to keep your company afloat. Going back, trying to figure out how you set that $50 an hour rate. I know they said this in the earlier video, but you got to figure out how much you cost for yourself. So you need to figure out your rent, you need to figure out your mortgage, your utilities, how much food and groceries you buy each, paying for car insurance or car repairs. You got to factor in all of those personal things, and then you need to figure out your company's expenses. So what the office rent is, what it takes to pay for the editing software, any kind of business memberships that you're a part of, or your LLC membership fees, or your website rent, paying for the website. You need to figure out all those little tiny costs and then add it up in total, divided by 12, or just figure out the monthly cost. But then you figure out that monthly cost, figure out how many hours a week you're going to work. This is like getting way, way detailed. So figure out your monthly total cost, then break that down to how much it costs. Divide that by 4 for your weekly, and then divide that by 5 to figure out your daily. And then you can even divide that by 8 to figure out your hourly rate. When people say, what is your day rate? They're asking how much do you charge for 8 to 12 hours of work. If you're in the film world, that's a 12-hour day is a very normal day. Now, there may have been some things that I missed in your video project calculations. Every project is different, and it all depends on what the client wants out of you. When you're giving this estimate, when you're giving a quote to a client, it always helps to be as open and honest as possible, be as detailed as possible. You don't have to go into exact detail, but it helps to explain every different aspect of the cost. Like, some clients may be sticker shocked by what you charge, and it helps to explain that, these are the number of hours that it takes to make this video project. These are the resources that we need to make this possible. But there is sort of a fine line on having the client know too much and having the client know just enough to where they understand all the price points. Give them a detailed amount of information without overwhelming them or without giving them unnecessary information. I know that sounds a little like wishy-washy. Maybe that sounds a little like tell them this but don't tell them that. It all depends on your client, though. Some clients may want to know exactly what you're charging and why. Some clients may just be fine with the price and no need for explanation. They just want to hire you because they believe in you. Guys, thanks for watching that episode. We got a little bit into the weeds on that. I hope you can bear with us. But it's important to know that as a filmmaker, you don't have to do your work for free. It's okay to make some money from it. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and we will see you next week on the Valley Films video blog. Peace. You need to get your money's worth. Yeah, don't get ripped off. Don't be a sap.